أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Dear respected chair, moderators, respected audience, it's a privilege to talk to you today about the connection that I made between the Holy Quran and pancreas regeneration, which is a story that began for me about 2 decades ago. I'm sorry some of the slides seem to have been a little bit overstretched. Hopefully this is an anomaly for just this slide. For those who are unfamiliar, the pancreas is a banana-shaped organ that is situated behind the stomach, as shown in the cartoon on the top right. And when perturbed by various insults, the pancreas can explode into a life-threatening, exquisitely painful disorder called pancreatitis. And pancreatitis can destroy the pancreas as a gland. And thus, I was in search of key signaling pathways that not only cause the disease, but that also promote regeneration after injury from pancreatitis. And in December 2008, I heard a khutbah of Huzur Anwar, Aidallahu Ta'ala bin Ashil Aziz, on Ash-Shafi, or the attribute of Allah Ta'ala of being the healer. And Huzur quoted the verse, and we are gradually revealing of the Quran that which is a healing and a mercy to the believers, but it only adds to the loss of the wrongdoers. Huzur said that Ahmadi Muslim scientists and physicians should turn to the Holy Quran for guidance in coming up for cures. And it was for me at that time a wake-up call of the Khalifa to turn to the Holy Quran. The message I heard was that reading the Holy Quran with the topi, or scarf, of a scientist will lead to breakthroughs. And often we're asking how science validates the Quran, which has its value. However, what would be especially useful to us as Ahmadi Muslim scientists is to ask how the Quran can promote science and scientific discovery. And so with this topi of a scientist, I began pondering the Holy Quran over organ recovery or regeneration. And I came across a verse in Surah Yasin, وَمَن نُعَمِّرْهُ نُنَكِّسْهُ فِي الْخَلْقِ أَفَلَا يَعْقِلُونَ. And him whom we grant long life, we revert him to a weak condition of creation. Will they not then understand? And the Arabic for weak condition of creation is khalq, which also refers to embryonic development. And I interpreted the verses as stating, and a certain organ which we cause to age or become injured, we also allow it to regenerate through a process similar to embryonic development. And what was intriguing is that 3 years prior, a paper had come out in the premier journal Gastroenterology with a similarly themed title, Recapitulation of Elements of Embryonic Development in Adult Mouse Pancreatic Regeneration. Thus, there was already some empirical data supporting this interpretation from the Holy Quran about regeneration through the emergence of embryonic elements. And so I asked, what guidance is there from the Holy Quran on how embryonic development occurs? For this, I turned to Surah Mu'minun and reflected on the sequence of events during embryonic development explained in the verses, Verily, we created man from an extract of clay. Then we placed him as a drop of sperm in a safe depository. Then we fashioned the sperm into a clot. Then we fashioned the clot into a shapeless lump. Then we fashioned bones out of this shapeless lump. Then we clothed the bones with flesh. Then we developed it into another creation. Bone, or izama, in Arabic has several meanings, including a scaffold, a substrate, a template, or a program. And the first clue to me about the identity of an izama, or a program for pancreas regeneration, were data that we generated by a machine learning tool that identified differences in the patterns of the nuclei in the main cells of the pancreas between a non-injured state and after pancreatic recovery. Even though the pancreas in both states looks the same, the nuclei are very different, as shown by the non-overlapping patterns. And this fascinating finding suggested that the izama, or program for regeneration that involves embryonic elements, could be guided by the way genetic material is packaged into an open or closed state, or what is called epigenomic programming. These intriguing observations from the Holy Quran, tied together with some data on the nuclear patterns, led us to generate the overarching hypothesis that there are izamas, or epigenomic programs, after pancreatic injury that induce the essential embryonic elements needed for proper regeneration. And this hypothesis begs several more testable questions, including what are those programs, how are they switched on, and how might they be exploited in order to enhance recovery after injury. And these questions prompted us to perform a series of experiments that generated what is called transcriptomic data and led to the next fascinating discovery, which I've just schematized here and shown in the red boxes. And these data reveal that the epigenomic factors, the chromatin remodelers shown in the red box, are a major set of differentially expressed genes between the non-injured state and the recovered state of the pancreas. And I shared my work by writing letters to the Khalifa. And here's an excerpt from a response letter that I was privileged to receive from Huzur Anwar. And it states, "I have received your letter citing your observation of comparison between the two Quranic ayats from Surah Al-Mu'minun and Surah Yasin and medical research into pancreatitis. May Allah grant you success in your endeavors, and the point you have presented is a good one." The advice and prayers of the Khalifa are golden. Dear audience, in summary, the Holy Quran can be utilized to promote science. In the story I shared with you, and hopefully you followed most of it, the Holy Quran seems to point out to the potential for pancreas regeneration through programs that induce embryonic elements. And the study of the Holy Quran led us to the pursuit of izamas, or epigenomic programs that turn on this pancreas regeneration. And so to all Ahmadi Muslim scientists, whether physicians or non-physicians, I recommend that we read the Holy Quran with the topi, or scarf, of a scientist. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen.